Hi everyone, it's Jen again. Um, this is my third time trying to record this video because I started talking about the battle system that I implemented this week. I know I had shown kind of like the bare bones of just how the combat was going to flow in my last video, but this week I have actually implemented all the mechanics, and I'm very happy with how it turned out because it is playing the way that I wanted it to. And I could talk a lot about like my goals for like what I wanted with the combat system, but I think I'm just gonna dive into it first to like talk about the combat system. And it's gonna seem like a lot because it's not very standard, so I have to kind of explain it from the ground up. And I've been taking this video a couple times and I'm not really sure how to talk about it in a way this doesn't make it sound like overly complicated, because in my mind the systems are actually very simple. Like, I tried to make them as simple as possible, but again, just because they are kind of very different, I have to explain everything as if you've never played a turn-based RPG before, which, I don't know, it makes it seem like a lot. Let me start with like the stats of the characters. So I've designed all these stats to be interchangeable because the player will be able to choose a different Esper and different guides and fight different enemy types. So that's all set up. Right now, the current Esper is Ember. These are health points. That works as you would imagine. Losing all your health points makes it that you lose the game over. Mana points are consumed whenever you use an attack. And then these two stats are your attack and defense stats. So you have corporeal and astral, which are your physical and magical. So your corporeal attack is your physical attack and physical defense, and your astral is your magic attack and magic defense in one stat. Discord, order, and balance are your elemental types. And power, empathy, and logic are your puzzle solving and dialogue choices that you have available to you, stats. You have your guide. The guides provide a passive bonus no matter what that cannot be dispelled just by having them dispatched with you. And this bonus is determined by affected by your bond level. So right now the bond level with the guide Wessing is only at 1, so you're only going to receive 10% of the total stats that he can provide. The GP here, 19, is the guidance points, so those are the points that are consumed whenever you use support abilities. His Discord is his main element, and he provides a passive bonus of 20. Order is 8 and balance is 3, so those are kind of like smaller, still higher than the Esper's stats alone, because these stats are kind of naturally much lower than the guides. And then he also provides a passive bonus to power, empathy, and logic, with empathy being his highest boost. And the other guides have their own specialities as well, of one of them having very high order and logic, and the other having very high balance and power. What does this look like when you're in combat? I think it's going to be best for me to just jump in to explain after kind of showing how these numbers work out. So you can see we have a different enemy type than we had last time, because I have the 3 different enemies kind of randomized right now. We can see our stats here with just the guide's passive bonuses listed. And again, we have our health, mana, and guidance points. The first step to the combat is going to be choosing an advantage, and these advantages are based on your power, empathy, and logic versus the enemy's power, empathy, and logic. Right now, the enemy has a higher logic stat than the player's logic stats, so we cannot examine. Examine would give us the option to see all of their stats, so they're kind of mysterious to us right now. We can use intimidate or relate because our power and our empathy are higher than the enemies. I'm going to go ahead and use relate, which is going to let me flip over an extra card. Intimidate would allow me to have the preemptive attack. So it tells us He's going to attack. I take 0 physical damage. So this enemy has low corporeal, has a lower corporeal stat than our MC, who has a higher corporeal stat, which probably means that it's an astral type, which means when we are getting attacked with the astral abilities, we will probably be damaged pretty badly because our MC has pretty low astral stat. When we go into the support option, we can flip over 5 cards. Now the card types are listed here. So we have black cards, which are always going to be corporeal attacks, and we have white cards, which are always going to be astral attacks. We have the blue cards here, which are the support cards for Discord. So if we had a guide who was using mainly like order support abilities, then these would be yellow, but these are blue. So I'm looking right now. I can select up to 4 cards. I can see that there are 2 support card types here that I could use this turn. Now the way that the card combos work is the more cards you use per turn, the stronger they are. And in the case of buffs, the longer the buffs last. And the buffs can stack on each other, so it's very advantageous to have the buffs up as long as possible, so that you can possibly like stack them up again, which will add to both their duration and their effect. I don't like to use up the cards unless I have at least a 3 chain, because the first card that I use is going to expire almost immediately because it only lasts for 1 turn. So I'm going to actually pass on this and just remember where my 2 support cards are. And when I pass, when I don't use anything, I basically gain. If I was using a support, I would gain an extra point of guidance. If I was using attack that turn, I would gain an extra mana. In this case, my bars are both full, so I don't get any. Any passive increase. Spiky's gonna attack. I'm gonna take 20 again. As I guessed, this character has high astral ability, so I took 20 damage that time because it was an astral attack, which I have lower defenses for. I'm going to try support again, see if I can find some more support cards. I know there is not going to be a good option. And it doesn't look like I have a lot of options on this board. But I do kind of know where that Suffuse card is, which is going to boost my Discord bounce, as well as some Fury cards, so I'm going to go ahead with that. And there's one more support card that I wanted, so that'll work. You can see that the first card I select is only going to last for 1 turn. Second card I select is going to last for 2 turns. And the third card I attack is going to last for 3 turns. Suffuse is the one buff that's going to be provided. So I always want to make sure that I give that the most turns because infused attacks are very strong in this game. We can see that this character's corporeal defense is going to be decreased. Corporeal attack and defense is going to be decreased for 1 turn. Their astral attack and defense is going to be decreased for 2 turns. And I'm going to have infused discordant power for 3 turns, which you can see here in the buffs. I have an extra plus 20, which is going to be used for overcoming defense. Okay, I'm going to take astral discordant damage. Now you might be wondering, like, why did I take so much damage from discordant damage when I have so much buffed? The defenses for the elements works differently than just the corporeal and astral. So when you are defending from a discordant attack, it's actually taking from your balance. So basically discord needs to penetrate balance, order needs to penetrate discord, and balance needs to penetrate order. So he's no longer weakened with the corporeal defense. That's okay. I've been talking so much that I might have forgotten where the Fury card is. No, I didn't forget where the Fury card is. That's the card I wanted. Oh, that is not the card I wanted, but that's okay. I have another Fury attack. That is very good. Okay, so when I'm planning these attacks, the cards that are at the end of the combo are going to get a higher multiplier. The first card is going to be pretty much like the weakest card because I'm only going to get 50% damage if I penetrate defense. I know my astral attacks are lower than my corporeal attacks because I'm already starting at a 15% difference there. So I'm going to save using my astral attacks for the beginning of my card combo. So I'm going to use harm, which is going to be only 50% of the damage if I even penetrate the defense. This is an infused card. So we have the white astral, a card, along with an elemental balance type, which my balance stat is also low. So we're going to waste this card at number 2. She's going to get 100% of defense penetration, or damage after defense penetration, but I'm probably not going to penetrate the defense with how low my stats are in those 2 spots. Now, these are the 2 cards that I'm going to rely on to do a lot of heavy lifting, because one, I have an extra 40, I'm at 44 Discord power right now, which is, these are both corporeal attacks, which is my higher stat, which I already know this enemy has a lower corporeal value, so I probably could penetrate their defense even with a normal corporeal attack. But I'm also going to be getting my Discord buff here, which has been empowered by my buff, as well as, since it's in the 3rd card slot, I'm going to get 150% damage on whatever I penetrate. And then the 4th card slot is going to be 200%. So I'm feeling pretty confident that even though I took a bunch of health in the beginning setting this up to get the card combination I want, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to wipe out this enemy in 1 turn. Let's find out. As I suspected, that first attack did not even penetrate defense. The second attack did not penetrate defense. Third attack, physical discord damage, penetrated defense and had a multiplier on it. And 4th attack, penetrated defense and had a multiplier on it. Spiky is destroyed in 1 turn. That is the type of strategy that's going on. Now, I've noticed that most of the playtesters will kind of pass by all this, so I'm definitely going to have to create some type of a tutorial. It's kind of a lot of information, though, to try to, like, stuff at the player, so I think I might just walk them through, like, the very basic strategy of just, like, trying to buff and trying to save cards for later to create longer card combo chains. You can go through the game and just try to attack as much as possible. You will probably have, you know, subpar results doing this. If I just kind of randomly try to select whatever cards and do as much as I can. See, there I did not penetrate any defenses. And I have seen people just kind of choose this strategy going forward, where they just try to grab as many attack cards as they can. I do think that overall there will have to be some understanding of the mechanics in this game in order to progress. Like there we got lucky enough that the Fury card is very strong naturally in this character combination because it capitalizes on the main character's high corporeal stat and the passive high discord buff that the guide is providing. So we did manage to penetrate defense on that. Will it be enough to overcome this enemy? It will probably be dependent on RNG at this point, whether or not the enemy keeps attacking us with astral damage. At some point we do have to switch to support because we just flat out ran out of attack cards. So this is going to give us buffs that we didn't even know that we wanted, but we got two We did end up getting to a double buff of Suffuse, which is incredibly powerful because we ended up here with a plus 40 bonus for 7 turns, which is going to be awesome if we survive. Now we do have items here, so I can heal myself. And we can go back to our attack strategy, which unfortunately did not take advantage of our huge Discord buff there. If I can find another Fury card, though, I think I could probably still win this. Even if I don't know I'm looking for Fury cards right now. Now, let's see. Let's just try to use all these. Got a bunch of buffs here. Managed to penetrate a little bit because their astral defense is like debuffed so severely that even with my very poor astral imbalance stats, I still managed to penetrate it a little bit. Now I'm using all these items to try to survive this fight. This enemy is just a common enemy type, so I think I still would have been better off with my original strategy of like actually having intention with every attack I do instead of just randomly spamming cards. But we did manage to destroy it in the end, after using up almost half our mana, half our guidance, and 2 items. So it's still possible to go through with the just haphazard strategy of just doing whatever you can without thinking, but the game will really reward having a strategy and intention with every turn, with both like your resource conservation and with item conservation, because items will be very sparse in this game, and I don't know, I think it's a lot more rewarding from like a brain, how my brain feels about what I'm interacting with. I find setting up the attacks to be a lot more rewarding than just kind of haphazardly going in there and hoping for something to happen. Because otherwise I think it can be pretty confusing as to like, well, why am I only doing like, oh, yeah, why am I only doing... I didn't realize I picked that. Why am I only doing like single-digit numbers here? Why is this battle taking so long? Ooh, this will be good. Oh, I wanted to use the 2 suffuses. I screwed that up. Wasn't paying attention. Well, we'll still probably do okay here. Ooh, we have another suffuse, so that's kind of nice. I always like it when I get the suffuse. And let's go ahead and buff that. That's going to be some huge damage when we finally get to use it for attacking. I think even if we ended up getting a... even if it was astral. But nope, we have harm. I think even at 100%, I'm feeling pretty confident that we can do some pretty nasty damage to this guy. Yeah, there we go. Well, that is my game development this week in a nutshell. Hope you're all having a good week. I'm excited to kind of finally be over this portion of just getting all the coding and the number crunching in there, and the displaying information. Play testing has been very invaluable in that regards. I've been adding a lot more display information. The animations on some of the text were there because people weren't reading the text, so I thought, well, if I animate it, it'll draw your attention to it. So when they're sitting there going, what am I supposed to do here? It says, oh, it says here to flip 3 cards or 4 cards. So yeah, just little stuff like that was very helpful to get some player feedback. And I think I'm ready to move on this week to working on sprite animations, so giving it a little more visual polish and hopefully upping the cool factor. Okay, hope you have a good week. If you're working on anything, don't forget to enjoy the process. Bye now.